The reports they provided us were heartbreaking. They were horrific. It's shocking that this can happen here in Canada.
Economy and our society would be looking like. The government is moving forward, opposition members are contributing, life continues, and we continue to look for ways in which we can improve our system.
Honourable Member for Selkirk, Interlake Eastman.
Speaker, I just want to use this quote from December of 2013. It says, the Prime Minister didn't want to have the House sitting. He avoided the day in and day out accountability in the House because he was not happy with what was being reported in the sequence of events that portrayed corruption and fraud. As a result, we lost weeks of debate earlier this fall because the Prime Minister did not want to come back. Why did he not want to come back? Well, he had a very serious problem and still does, and is not going to go away. You know who said that? It was the member from Winnipeg North. And he, of course, is failing to recognize that the issue of accountability, the ability as us as private members to bring forward our bills, our private members' bills, are not being enabled through this process. We're not dealing with any legislation. We're not dealing with opposition motions as he already portrayed. And that's part of accountability. And what they're trying to do is duck out and do government through press conferences in front of the Rideau Cottage.
Here's an example of the Conservatives and the NDP working together to not think.
Whether you're a beef farmer, a grain and oilseeds operator, or a supply managed dairy farmer, there is a lot of problems with the lack of response from the government. And when the government refuses, one, to recognize the issue, and two, to respond in a meaningful way to ensure that our food secure, that ensures that our communities thrive in rural areas, because without a healthy farm agriculture society, our rural communities hurt. They refuse to put in place the proper cash injections to cover off the loss of markets, to cover off the loss of market share and the international and domestic levels, and recognize the fact that we need to control supply. And without them putting in place those steps and programs, like a set-aside on slaughter animals, we will not get to a point of viability to survive through the pandemic for our agriculture producers.
We've got time only just for a very short question and response. The Honourable Member for Timmins, James Bay.
I was very interested to listen to my honourable colleague. In terms of what we're dealing with beef, we have many of our farmers who we were starting to see some really good expansion. We've been hit very, very hard. We have people who may not make it through this because they were holding their cattle over the winter, figuring that prices were going to be good. But he talks about the issue of supply, but I think it's also capacity. That we're no further ahead than we were with BSC, where we've got 3 plants covering 85%. Nobody expected that COVID was going to hit cargo as hard as it did, but it did. And I want to ask my honourable colleague about the importance of having some, even if it's provincial, but regional capacity to give our farmers, because there is a need for beef at the stores. We need to get this thing through. The set-aside is not simply going to get people through as it is, but the larger structural problem of capacity, to kill capacity, remains a problem, and COVID has really exposed it.
For Selkirk, Interlake Eastman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank my colleague from Timmins, James Bay, for the question. And he and I, when we were first elected, actually served together on the Agriculture Committee. And I can tell you that he's right, that we don't have enough regional capacity across this country. Do we have surplus capacity on good days? Yeah, when everybody's operating at full steam, yeah, we got enough capacity within the country. But when we start seeing reductions in shifts, when we're seeing the reduction or shutdowns of plants in Alberta or places in Ontario and Quebec, that ultimately impacts other areas of the country. And of course, the farther you're away from those facilities, the harder it is to get your animals to market, and the bigger discounts that they're going to take on you. So we do need to look at our overall food security and how processing is part of that, along with our production, and maintaining that ability to export our high-quality food products around the world.